Hello, my name is Justice Hall Alexander, and this is my IOC analysis of the novel Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. Um, so, mostly during this video, I'm going to be focusing on one of the main protagonists, Juliet, who is the daughter of Lady Capulet and Capulet, and also now the bride of Romeo, I guess, even though they both die. So really what I want to talk about her is kind of who she is and how she acts throughout the book. I personally see her as very childish, which is expected as she's only 14, but in this time period, it's seen that she's pretty much an adult now and she's getting married and stuff. But you can also see clearly throughout the book that she's very childish and doesn't really know what she wants. But when she gets what she wants, it later comes to her death with Romeo. So the part of the novel that I'm going to be focusing on is Act 3, Scene 2. So in this act, this is when the nurse has already experienced, saw all the stuff with Tybalt and Romeo, Mercutio, Benvolio and stuff, when Tybalt kills Mercutio and then Romeo kills Tybalt. And the nurse has come to tell Juliet the news, but at first she's really stumbling over her words and isn't really giving a clear a clear picture of what happened. So Juliet ends up thinking that Romeo is dead when in fact Tybalt is the one that died. And later the nurse calms down a little bit and she says, oh Romeo, I can't believe he could have done this and all that. And she tells Juliet that it was actually Romeo who killed Tybalt. And Juliet kind of goes into a whole savage mode and starts dissing Romeo, saying that he's I think she said he's a devil in a angel's body and that he has a snake heart, basically just talking all this crap about him. And then when the nurse says that she wishes Romeo should be ashamed, Juliet tells her how could you say that, how could you wish shame upon Romeo? This that's her husband. And it's kind of weird because she was just dissing him, but when somebody else disses Romeo, she goes into a whole crazy fit, which also again shows how childish she is. Yes. Then she says, shall I speak ill of him that is my husband? Ah, poor my lord, what tongue shall smooth thy name? Basically, she's saying, should she speak bad about him? That's her husband now. And she's now saying that, if she's going to speak bad about him, who else is going to actually speak good about Romeo now? Then she says, when I, thy 3 hours wife, have mangled it. That's basically going also with the shall I speak ill of him part. She's been married to him for she's about to be married to him in a few hours and stuff like that. And she's already speaking bad about him, so it's kind of, she's very back and forth right now. And then she says, but wherefore, villain, didst thou kill my cousin? That villain cousin would have killed my husband. So now she's kind of going against what she said earlier. And she's not really making a statement, but she's questioning what she actually believes right now, what she wants to believe. She wants to believe that Romeo was basically going into self-defense against Tybalt and then killed him because Tybalt was trying to kill her. And she's correct, but she doesn't know all the information and stuff like that. She says, back full as tears, back to your native spring, your tributary drops belong to woe, which you mistaking offer up to joy. My husband lives that Tybalt would have slain, and Tybalt dead that would have slain my husband. So now she's saying, like, she's not going to cry right now. She's going to save those tears for, like, joy, because Romeo still lives, her husband, and Tybalt is dead. So right now she's kind of putting Romeo on a pedestal above everybody else, even above her family, which is also like very, 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 very childish, especially because I don't think their marriage is like officialized right now, but she's basically just being very dramatic. She says, sorry, she says, but oh, it presses to my memory like damn. Well, she says, some word there was worse than Tybalt's death that murdered me. I would forget it fain, but oh, it presses to my memory like damn guilty deeds to sinners' minds. Tybalt is dead and Romeo is banished. So the word that she's talking about when she says some word there was worse than Tybalt's death was the word banished, which is being associated with Romeo because Romeo is now banished. And she's saying, oh, it presses to my memory like damn guilty deeds to sinners' minds. So basically that word is like torturing right now. And it doesn't really make any sense because it's not like he's dead or anything. He's just not here with you right now. He's banished. But even like now she thinks it's that's like the biggest thing in the world, her main struggle right now, which it shouldn't. It should be actually be Tybalt's death. She says Tybalt is dead and Romeo is banished. That that one word banished has slain 10,000 Tybalts. So again, she's saying that word banished is just so bad. It's even worse than 10,000 Tybalts being slain, which is kind of messed up. I think. She says Tybalt's death was woe, even if it had ended there, or if sour woe delights in fellowship, and neatly will be ranked with other griefs. Why follow not when she said Tybalt's dead, thy father or thy mother, nigh or both? Then, well, basically right there she's saying, like, she's still sad about Tybalt's death, but that being followed up with Romeo being banished is like, it's like even worse than it's worse than anything else right now. She also says, but with a reward following Tybalt's death, Romeo is banished. To speak that word is father, mother, Tybalt, Romeo, Juliet herself, all slain, all dead. So again, I think this is the third time now, she's saying how Romeo being banished is worse than anything else. Like she says, right there, she's saying her is worse than her father, her mother, Tybalt, Romeo, Juliet, all slain, all dead. So right there, she's putting her life before well, she's putting Romeo before her life. Like she'll do anything for this man, even though they just met and they have true love. But I don't see that. She says Romeo is banished. There is no end, no limit, measure, bound, in that word's death. So right there, she's being very dramatic, very, 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 very dramatic. She's basically saying, there's nothing. Again, there's nothing worse than Romeo being banished. Like that's the only thing she cares about right now. Like she's even going to like wish pain upon the nurse who is like the caretaker of her. She fed her. She did all this stuff for her when she was younger. She raised her when her mother wasn't there, and she still puts Romeo above her, and she's being very dramatic. But yeah, I think that's all I had to say. Thank you for listening.